Welcome to Science Nation. Hi, everybody.
Let's start things off with a quick look at 4 awesome discoveries.
Check them out.
It's a recipe for disaster. Sort of. Scientists are cooking up 10-gallon batches of molten rock and injecting them with water. Why? Because in nature, water can make volcanic activity more dangerous. Initial results of this long-term study show lava-water interactions can generate explosions when there is at least a foot of molten rock above the mixing point. In general, more brilliant reactions occur when there is lava in tall containers and water rushes in. This study could improve risk assessments for volcanoes near ice, lakes, oceans, and underground water sources.
Plant biologists have engineered rice plants that produce seeds that grow into clones of the parent. The plants reproduce asexually, yielding clonal seeds with all of the parent's desirable traits: drought resistance, heat tolerance, whatever. And those traits will remain the same generation after generation. The system's not perfected yet, but there's even potential for other crops. So poor farmers in developing countries would only need to buy hybrid seeds one time, and they'd be set year after year. A real growth opportunity for world agriculture.
As Puerto Rico struggles to rebuild after Hurricane Maria, new research confirms a less obvious but far-reaching impact on its watersheds and forests. Sensors show a sustained, dramatic increase in the amount of nitrate in streams flowing from the mountains to the sea. Nitrate is essential for plant growth, but in large quantities it can harm coastal ecosystems. Scientists say this change will play a role in which trees grow back first, and the nitrate overload could fuel algal blooms. Worst case, coastal dead zones.
Here's a high-tech way to stay warm without turning up the thermostat. Researchers have engineered personal heat patches meant to be sewn into clothes. The team found a cost-effective way to make the patches thin and durable by using intense pulses of light to fuse tiny silver wires with polyester. They can be powered by coin batteries, and the heating performance is nearly 70% higher than similar patches. Now that's hot.
And there you go, 4 awesome discoveries.
Now, here comes some more.
Stand aside. These so-called leaf-footed insects are getting ready to rumble. And for entomologist Christine Miller, that means it's time to get to work.
It's more like someone doing mixed martial arts in that they fight in so many different ways. And so we can study the shape of their weapons and the function of their weapons and how they're related to the ways in which the bugs fight.
With support from the National Science Foundation, Miller and her team at the University of Florida study animal weapons as a key to understanding their behavior, diversity, and evolution.
And it's a great group of insects. Some of them are huge, some of them are tiny. They just seem to have such a diversity of shapes, body shapes, that we can use them to do all sorts of different experiments and also behavioral observations that they're just a really powerful way to better understand science.
They collect a lot of specimens at this campus organic garden.
This is a juvenile, and it hasn't developed big fighting legs yet. When we think as humans about weaponry, we often think about lethal weaponry, weapons designed to kill. Animal weapons are used to get that opponent away, to succeed in getting a territory, maybe to get access to females for potential matings. They rarely fight to the death.
And like human wrestlers, insects, usually males, have some signature moves. The short squeeze, the leg wrap, the pounce and wrap. And it's all to get the girl.
Yeah, I've never seen 2 males fighting this hard for 1 female.
But it's not always the big bug on campus that's a hit with the ladies. Miller says some females also factor in complex odors when choosing a mate. Experiments like this show a boy bug has to do more than fight to impress a female. A tasty dinner goes a long way too.
The males release olfactory cues to reel in the ladies, and the cactus that they live on also emits odors. So the female has a choice between a high-quality male on a low-quality cactus pad or a low-quality male on a high-quality cactus pad.
See, it's a one-legged male, and it was actually aiming that missing leg towards the other one.
Of course, when you fight, sooner or later, you're going to lose. Miller says that's why these insects have evolved something called autotomy.
If they get in a tricky situation and something grabs the leg, like a bird, or they just get trapped, they could actually do a little like twist, shake sort of thing, and they actually sever their leg off at a breakage plane.
Miller says studying insect behaviors will help us understand everything from pest management to how habitat and climate change impacts a range of animal populations.
A lot of people don't think about insect conservation, but if we lose species of insects, we could have ecosystems fall apart to some extent and be adversely affected.
A little knowledge is a powerful weapon.
New fast MRI and CT scanning techniques allow researchers to study live wrist bones in motion for the first time. The National Science Foundation funded work could potentially help people suffering from wrist pain and disorders like osteoarthritis and carpal tunnel syndrome. Brent Foster and his team at UC Davis scanned both wrists of 18 individuals, 9 men and 9 women of varying ages. Using innovative MRI techniques, which allowed 3D views of wrists in motion, the team had individuals move their wrists in 5 ways while being scanned to track wrist, bone, and joint movement. By scanning these movements, the team was able to explain over 91% of wrist variations across individuals. The researchers were surprised to find that wrist motion differed by gender. The team looks forward to continuing its efforts to help manage wrist disorders.
The word polymer literally means many parts, but a polymer isn't a specific thing. It's anything, usually a molecule or material, made of smaller repeating bits, monomers. So, polymers are large molecules formed by linking together smaller repeating units called monomers. Many people think of plastics when they hear the word polymer, but polymers can be synthetic or natural. DNA, proteins that make up our hair and muscles, and cellulose, the molecule that gives plants their sturdy structure, are all natural examples of polymers. Like all molecules, polymers can have different shapes and sizes, so the properties of a polymeric material will depend on which atoms and molecules it contains and how they're connected. Some polymers are rigid and strong, while others are flexible. And researchers are constantly looking for new ways to create even better polymers with useful properties. Some scientists study spiders for clues because their silk polymers are famously strong yet flexible. Others are working on ways to control polymer assembly. This will allow them to create new kinds of materials that are easier to recycle, can fix themselves after they're damaged, or even respond when exposed to light or electricity. From muscle fibers to plastics, polymers are useful materials that we rely on every day. Understanding how to build them from different types of monomers will allow researchers to design and build a more flexible future, bit by bit.
We'll be back with more Science Nation right after this brief break.
NetCredit is here to say yes, even when other lenders won't. Apply online in minutes and get funds deposited the next business day or sooner. NetCredit. Credit to the people.
Are you sitting at home living in pain? Maybe it's in your hands or your back or your hips. I'm here to tell you that joint pain doesn't have to be a life sentence. Hi, I'm John Walsh. You know, for 40 years, I've been chasing down the culprits. And now I'm ready to throw the book at joint and muscle pain. That's why there's Omega XL, a one-of-a-kind, natural, powerful joint relief supplement. So I tried it, and it changed my life. Just ask anybody who uses it. The results are undeniable.
Last week, I walked 6 blocks. I was so proud of myself. I ordered Omega XL, and now I have more energy than I ever had. It's been the best thing that I did because it relieves a lot of pain. Everything changed for the best. I can go out, I can hang out with my sisters, I can go anywhere, clean my house, do whatever I can and want to do. Now it's let's go, baby. This product is the best thing. You will remember what did it to you, and it was Omega XL.
That's the truth, the facts, and the hope that Omega XL can bring you. Case closed.
Go to OmegaXL.com/John Walsh or call the number at the bottom of your screen right now to take advantage of this special offer. Buy 1 bottle of Omega XL, get 1 free. That's 2 bottles for only $39.95. Plus, you'll also receive a bottle of Vitamin XL D3 absolutely free. And it's backed by a 60-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, just return the unused portion for a full refund of the purchase price.
If you're living with joint or muscle pain caused by inflammation, try Omega XL and see the difference it can make in your life.
Order now to get this special offer. 2 bottles of Omega XL plus Vitamin XL D3 for only $39.95. Act now.
NetCredit is here to say yes, even when other lenders won't. Apply online in minutes and get funds deposited the next business day or sooner. NetCredit. Credit to the people.
Welcome back.
It's not the circus or the county fair, but one day these polymer fibers may be a key component in creating life-saving new medical technologies.
I think my idea is that we can...
With support from the National Science Foundation, engineers Hak Jun Sung and Leon Bellin and their team at Vanderbilt University are working to regrow body tissue that has been damaged by trauma or disease.
It can be heart, or it can be blood vessel, it can be brain, or some other part of the body.
In the long run, you don't want there to be any noticeable difference between the host body and the implanted tissues.
Part of the challenge is developing an artificial equivalent of tissue itself. They call it a scaffold. They're using hydrogels, which look and feel a lot like gelatin.
The scaffold is sort of the environment in which the cells live. You can think about it as sort of like a house for the cells.
The cells they put into the scaffold ideally are harvested from the patient's own body and will grow into healthy replacement tissue.
We use a material as a basic template, like mimicking tissue structures, and we add some biological component. It can be stem cell or other adult cells or biological molecules.
Now, here's where the cotton candy machine comes in.
So there's a big push to try and figure out how do you build capillaries into engineered tissue.
Regenerating tissue needs blood to survive. In living systems, that's done by capillaries, branching networks of tiny blood vessels, each 10 times thinner than a human hair.
Cells want to be roughly a hair's thickness or less distance from a blood vessel, from a capillary. And if they're too far from a capillary, then they don't get oxygen and nutrients quickly enough to survive, and they'll die. The size of the fibers that are produced by a cotton candy machine are fairly close, if not spot on, when compared to the size of capillaries.
They pour hydrogel over the fibers. After it hardens in an incubator, they dissolve the fibers away, leaving a network of tiny channels behind, just like capillaries.
So the cotton candy machine just ended up making fibers that happen to have the right size and the right sort of architecture to mimic a capillary bed.
Bellin says they still have lots to work out before this artificial tissue is ready for use in patients. But they have high expectations that the field of regenerative medicine will eventually prove to be a game changer.
We're really putting together a toolbox for people to eventually be able to build tissues and organs. In the long run, someone needs a new organ, we'll just build it for them.
Engineering artificial tissue designed to regenerate the real thing. Any way you spin that, it's a winner.
We'll be back with more Science Nation right after this brief break.
Are you sure? You tend to exaggerate.
Go ahead. Call him yourself.
Thank you for calling Aetna. This is Ann. How can I help you?
Do you really have Medicare plans that cover dental, vision, and hearing?
Yes, all three. Plus, we have plans that include a monthly allowance for certain over-the-counter products.
Really? See, they're great. But what's all this going to cost me?
We know things can add up quickly. That's why Aetna has Medicare Advantage plans with a $0 monthly plan premium and $0 preventive screenings.
Oh, I like that.
Then I think you'll like our strong network of doctors. And you can manage it all in our mobile app or on our website.
I told you.
Let me walk you through your plan options and find the one that's right for you.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Don't wait. Call 1-877-AETNA-08 to find an Aetna Medicare Advantage plan that meets your unique needs. And let's make healthier happen together.
Now, what was this about me exaggerating?
Why did we choose Safelite? We were loading our SUV when crack. Safelite came right to us, and we could see exactly when they'd arrive. With the replacement we could trust.
Schedule free mobile service at Safelite.com.
Safelite repair, Safelite replace.
All right, time to do some selling. That's going towards rent. Oh yeah, that's going towards girls' night. And that's going towards a new bag.
Every new listing by November 3rd is a weekly chance to win luxury goods. Terms apply.
Welcome back.
What matters to you is exactly that boundary condition where the
Architect Maria Paz Gutierrez is a woman on a mission.
Can you show me a bit of what you're working on? Sure.
Not just to mentor a new generation of students here at the University of California, Berkeley, but to design a new generation of affordable, sustainable building technologies aimed at conserving an increasingly precious resource, water.
So this research began by trying to address a very key environmental and socioeconomic and cultural issue that we face today, which is the issue of water scarcity around the world.
Right now, an average family of 4 in the U.S. uses more than 250 gallons of clean water per day. Most of it goes right back out to the sewer. More than half of that is so-called gray water.
Gray water is all the water that we have used for activities with the exception of water from toilet flushing and in some parts of the world also the water from kitchen sinks.
Well, some of them are like shifted this way a little bit.
With support from the National Science Foundation, this team is working to develop solar panels like these, designed to mount on the side of a building and take gray water recycling to a new level. And they're designed to be multi-purpose, too. The water that flows through them will be heated by the sun during the day and then circulate through the building to warm it when it's cold.
Here you see we will collect the gray water through the day. It's filtered, and then it's brought into these facades within a panel. It's warmed through the day, and then we reuse it to pass it under the slabs of the floors and then use it as thermal energy.
The key is photocatalytic disinfection technology. Glass surfaces inside the panels, which can look like spheres or louvers, are coated with nanoparticles that chemically react to sunlight. The process generates molecules called OH radicals that kill microbes like E. coli. The processed gray water isn't clean enough to drink, but fine for flushing toilets or washing clothes.
Many people considered water in the 21st century to be an equivalent of oil in the 20th century.
Environmental engineer Slav Hermanovich and his students are building panel prototypes that they test in the lab and also outdoors.
Instead of using water only once, and that's the norm in pretty much all developed world, we want to use it at least twice. And in this way, we can cut the water demand, we can use solar energy, which is free, and we can also potentially capture that energy for other usage.
Gutierrez says this technology could be ready for commercialization within the decade at a price point that would be practical for use in water-stressed areas all around the globe.
The end user will benefit because we'll pay less money in electricity, in the water usage. The city will have savings because you'll have less water to treat. The environment will benefit because we're not going to be contaminating aquifers. So there are advantages that work across scales, from the local to the global scale.
Engineering sustainable communities using the energy of the sun to conserve water and generate power. We can all take a shine to that.
We'll be back with more Science Nation right after this brief break.
Game show thrillers with Halloween thrills all around.
That was so good!
Today, starting at 11 on BUZZR.
NetCredit is here to say yes, even when other lenders won't. Apply online in minutes and get funds deposited the next business day or sooner. NetCredit. Credit to the people.
Welcome to Car Breakdowns 101. I'm your Professor Ice-T. If your car is out of warranty, a car breakdown could eat you alive. Look at that car. The transmission alone could cost you $3,000. And that engine? How much do you love your kidneys? Don't even get me started on the computer system. That's a small fortune. Do what I did and call CarShield. They get expensive car repairs taken care of so you don't have to. Class dismissed.
Call 800-232-5965.
NetCredit is here to say yes, even when other lenders won't. Apply online in minutes and get funds deposited the next business day or sooner. NetCredit. Credit to the people.
I wish we could watch the college football games we actually care about. You can. On ESPN with Sling, they have the college football that you love. You can even choose and customize your channel lineup with Sling. And you can watch it on your phone. That sounds so easy. Now how do we get out of here? Follow me. I love this. Yeah, that place was way too crowded.
Watch the college football games you actually care about on ESPN with Sling. Sling lets you do that.
Welcome back.
Biogeochemist Charlie Driscoll and forest ecologist Lindsay Rustad are taking a little hike through the woods, surveying their handiwork, you might say.
This quadrant over here, this is a big litter decomposition.
With support from the National Science Foundation, they're part of a team of researchers here at the Hubbard Brook Experimental Forest in New Hampshire that wants to know more about the impact of ice storms on forests like this. Easier said than done, since such storms are so hard to predict.
Wow. Lindsay, look at that.
So they set out to make one.
And I don't think it's ever been done before. How do we quantify the level of icing? Really, the accumulation of ice is really critical in terms of the overall damage. We wanted to be able to be very quantitative.
We had pumps down in the Hubbard Brook that pumped water from the brook through a series of hoses. We had 2 of these vehicles going along either side of our experimental plots, spraying water 100 feet into the air. Came down as a fine mist. It was freezing conditions and it froze on contact.
So these ornaments are up there and they're getting ice as well as the branches?
They set up 10 plots, each about the size of a basketball court. Some got no ice, some got 1/4 of an inch, which is pretty light. Some 1/2 inch, the equivalent of a major storm. And some got 3/4 of an inch, considered extreme. Now they're into a multi-year effort to monitor how the forest is responding.
So what happens when we have an ice storm? It's a catastrophic event. It opens up the canopy. There are some trees that are able to recover from this. There are some trees that are not able to recover from this. This is an opportunity for the forest to rebuild itself.
On this day, they were measuring nutrient levels in the water from the soil.
When you damage the canopy, those trees are not taking up as much nitrogen and carbon and calcium. And if they're not taking it up out of the soil, that means it's in the soil and it can be leached into our streams and our lakes.
They also gather up dead twigs and branches that fall from the treetops, carefully weighing how much detritus is coming down from the damaged canopy. And they measure the amount of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases generated by soil microbes and plants' root systems released from the forest floor.
So if you have a catastrophic disturbance like an ice storm and you change the carbon cycling, and if you tweak that soil respiration even just a little bit, because it's such a big number, it can have a significant impact.
The goal is to quantify every bit of science data they possibly can about how this ecosystem is changing in the aftermath of the experiment. The trees, the soil, the water, even behavior of birds and insects.
So we're doing things like measuring the temperature of the air, the temperature of the soil, the moisture of the soil, so a cascade of physical impacts.
Driscoll says as our climate changes, we can expect more catastrophic weather events. Not just ice storms, but hurricanes, floods, and drought, too.
And as a society, we're going to have to deal with them at all levels and all types. And so I think the more we know about them, we are better prepared to understand their effects, to respond to them. It's going to be in our best interest in the future.
Simulating an ice storm to be better prepared when the real thing strikes. That's way cool.
And that's our show for today.
Thanks for watching.
See you next time.